Hey guys, this is Hetu and welcome back to etlqalabs. So guys, first of all, I'm very sorry that I could not do any video in recent time, and I think this is the video that I'm doing after almost a month time. I had some personal commitment, guys, so that's the reason I could not do it. But always wanted to make sure that if there are any important or any critical questions on my YouTube channel, I tried to respond them over the comment section, right? So I always keep a tab there. If I see that if there is anything that is really needed or something that is not covered as part of my previous video, then I definitely try to answer them, right? Uh, so so let's try to continue it. I think there is a in the middle. I think we were actually trying to do something on the Python and some of the automation that we wanted to do on the Python, right? The ETL automation, especially using pandas and NumPy, etc. But then the session, I think we could not continue it. So I will try to do that, and I will see that how I can cover the most important thing that you should know as part of ETL tester in Python, because Python is very vast, so I don't want to cover each and every aspect. Only thing which are really important and which we normally use as a tester, those part I will be trying to cover. Okay. So in this session, guys, this is another, these are the important questions, I think. So one of my subscriber has asked me, I'm sorry that I could not do this video any before, but I hope that you understand that. But finally, I thought that I will do it. I had committed you that I will do it this weekend, so I am doing it. So yes, now let's start with the questions, guys. So there are four questions. I think these questions are, I would say, this is something a bit of, I think, senior role, right? But it's not that it's always for the senior role, but most of the time it's kind of, senior test engineer to test lead kind of role, right? That's where this kind of questions will be fitting in, okay? Because these are something related to behavioral and something related to your no, they wanted to check basically how good you are in your communication skill and how your presence of mind works, right? So all those things basically they wanted to check asking this kind of questions, because these kind of questions uh, really sometime they are the open-ended question, do not have any very fixed a kind of content that you can cover as part of answering these questions, right? So let's start then. So first question is, what are your achievements? Second question is, how do you resolve conflict within your team members as a test lead, right? So this is especially the behavioral question basically. So this is the very obvious question when you are working as a test lead. You will be finding, many team members will be having the internal conflict, and that is something that as a team lead you need to keep the team members moral and spirit very high. In that case you have to make sure that everyone is happy within the project, right? That is how you can ensure that the project is also on the success path, right? Third question is most critical bug that you found with example, right? So this this is something that again, I mean, they wanted to check that how do you explain basically, right, criticality of the bug, and what do you think that what is critical, right? So all those things they wanted to check more of your communication skill and more of your how do you convince them, right? All those kind of skills. And then last question is really a bit technical. That's about tell me about okay, it's about tell me about CI and CD pipeline, right? So this guys, this question is basically more of a automation in nature, right? So this is something related to DevOps and all, but I will try to, I'll show you also that how do you create a pipeline also, right? And what does it mean by pipeline, etc. But this is something that normally if you are going as a ETL tester, I think they might not ask. I think this is most of a automation tester related question, but yes, I mean sometimes they can ask also, right? So let's try to start then answering this question. So let's take up the first question, guys. So first question is, what are your achievements, right? So they actually really wanted to talk you more and more about your achievements, and they want to check your communication skill here, right? So you can say, guys, achievement. So as I said that this question is a bit of experienced level. Okay, so you can say that as a test lead, my achievements are that I was able to deliver. I was able to deliver with the improved quality delivery, right? And because previously, when I joined the project, I think the processes were not in place properly, and there were a lot of hiccups within the process itself, and hence there were some issues basically. So as part of that, how I did is, let me tell you. First of all, I actually revised. I mean, basically review the test strategy, and within the test strategy, I tried to fix, the open-ended. What do you say, the generic, generic aspect of the test strategy, right? So actually I really uh, you know uh, tried to work on that test strategy and made sure that test strategy is actually clearly, it's very very crystal and clear what exactly we need to follow as part of our test strategy, what is scoping and what exactly we want to do as part of our testing, whether we want to do regression testing or ETL testing, when actually want to do what, right? So all the test strategy. So that document actually I basically worked on that and reviewed it and finally got it approved. And then this is being followed, and this is really giving a good productivity because now team members are very clear what exactly they have to do, right? Just following the test strategy. Now, second thing that I did is basically I started the regular catch up or the regular one-on-one meeting with each of the team members. So it's like what is happening is basically in the team meeting, team members are not open to share if there is any conflict or if there is any issues with them, etc. So that's the reason I started doing the regular one-on-one meeting. And when I say regular, it's based on my team size. Right now, I am doing it once in a month, just for 15 minutes, just to understand, if there is any issue that I can help my team members, right? That really helped because they also gain a lot of confidence, and the team members are very open to share anything, that they shy away. So all those things really helped regular one-on-one. And the third thing that I did within within the project is basically the automated scripting. So there were a lot of areas that where we were doing the manual testing in the ETL testing side. So we actually tried to automate most of the thing now. For example, there were a lot of file output that we get as part of our ETL process, and those files actually are huge, like 10 GB or 8 GB are in those size basically. Manually validating those files and correctness of the data, because those are the output file basically that comes out of ETL. So manually validating those files are really tough, and because you cannot really, sometimes the file do not gets open when you actually open them, like those are the CSV files, right? You cannot really open them actually. It hangs the system, right? So that's where actually we started automating, and we have primarily used the Python. Within Python, we have used the pandas and NumPy to automate those systems, and now we can just run those tests. I mean, basically a script on the files, and then it quickly give you the output basically, that we can actually verify and see that okay, this file is correct or not, right? So automation is the third thing that we did, and then the process definition, right? So we actually defined certain processes. Basically, for example, we did not had a leave planner, right? So in the leave planner, actually the team members used to actually take the leaves on ad hoc basis, or they already have the plan, but we did not. I mean, it was not known to everybody, right? So that's how I went ahead and created the leave planner. That's where actually you can put in the leaves for upcoming 1 month, and then based on your leave planning, actually we can plan the delivery, right, within that particular month. So that really helped. Backup plans is also something that is one of the initiative, because if somebody is on leave and that person is the only person who can actually handle that particular project, in that case that project really suffers, right? In that case, having a proper backup plan um, really help continue the delivery as usual, right? And then the last one is actually I tried to do the GitHub usage for the script maintenance. Before, what we were having is we used to have some automated script, but those automated scripts were basically used to be with the team members only. They used to create it and they used to maintain it locally, right? And so now after that, what I did is basically I created a GitHub repository, and then uh, uh, ensure that each and every automation script being used within the team are actually having a latest copy all the time updated onto GitHub, so that if somebody is not there or on leave, then actually anyone can go and fetch that script and run it basically, right? So these are the few things that I did as part of my delivery, basically to improve the overall quality delivery. And obviously that that gives a byproduct, right? So what's byproduct is basically we got the better QA visibility and value addition, and now we got lot of recognition across the board. Actually, it's not only within our team but also within the program, all across the program also we got lot of visibility that our team is is really um, adding lot of value, and we have lot of capability of doing automation, etc., right? So these are the some of the things that I can mention. Yeah, so these are the things that you can mention, guys. Yeah. Now, second question is, how do you resolve conflicts within your team members as a test lead, right? So what we have to do is, as a test lead, basically, guys, you have to be very open, right? So you have to open, and you have to make sure each of the team members uh, you know uh, gets your proper attention, right? So you actually make sure that you are not actually doing any kind of uh, what do you say, partiality between the team members, right? So you make sure that everyone is happy to talk to you, and everyone is able to share their thought or any issues. They should not think that you will take it otherwise, and you actually having some soft corner for some person. So this kind of thing should not be there, right? So as a team lead, you should be you should be having a very professional relationship with the team members. Obviously, when it is needed, you also have to uh, uh, you also need to understand their personal requirement, and if some leave, etc., that is needed, obviously you have to understand that part, right? So first of all, if there so now if there is a conflict between two team members, let's say, what is happening, then you can actually go and talk to each of them separately, one on one, and try to understand basically why and what is the problem, right? So once you actually talk to both of them, you will actually able to understand what is the problem, right? Or is the one person is expecting something that he should not expect, because there here in the team, it's there is nothing personal, right? It's all about the project delivery. So it's all about the professional relationship, right? And then there will definitely be something related to work or some visibility that one person is getting, other person is not getting, or something also that it might happen that one person is working for something and other person is getting taking the advantage of it, right? So that kind of things also happens, right, sometime. So we have to understand, talk to both of the team members separately, and try to understand their viewpoint. Then once you understand, you make sure that whatever they are actually doing as part of their roles and responsibility is it is clearly demarcated, right? It is clearly defined that this is what, as part of their roles and responsibility, they are supposed to do, right? So both of the members, right? So you make sure that they understand, Otherwise, what will happen is sometime this also happens that it's if roles are not clearly defined, then one person I mean it's kind of conflict, right? Because one member will say that no, this is not my not my area of work, you have to work on this because this has been given to you, something like that. There might be argument and all, right? So as a lead you have to make sure that you clearly define their roles and responsibility and demarcate the area of testing the are the work that they have to do, right? And then keep a checkpoint and after that once you define this and take both of them into a meeting and then say that okay, so this is how the once you understand, right, you resolve between both of them, and once they are happy you have to keep a checkpoint and a periodic catch up with both of them separately also, right? Try to understand whether if the things are resolved permanently or is there anything else going on, right? So you have to at least do for some time so that it can be permanently sorted out. And then fourth point is no negativity about each other, right? So let's say you should not criticize one person about the other person, right? In front of one person about other person, so that actually gives you wrong impression, right? And I mean it's like not good as a lead, right? Because you should not talk about any negative things. You should always talk about positive things, and then when you're talking about one person, you always focus on that person only. You should not talk about something else, right? So these are the few things that we should take care, and then I think the things will be resolved. And these are not the only things, guys. I am just telling you these are some of the generic things that you can do, but it's really based on your experience and based on your understanding in the situation that is there. That point of time, you have to understand it, right? And then you have to take a action. But definitely, as a test lead or the team lead, you have to take care of that, right? Now, most critical bug that you found with example, right? So, guys, this is something that when you're going for a ETL testing, you have to actually give something, some bug related to ETL testing only, right? You should not give something related to, functional testing or some security testing and all those kind of things, right? It should be very much in line with your area of work, right, that you are doing. So you are as a ETL tester, you have to tell couple of things, right, guys? Okay, because there is not only one or two in your whole lifetime, you have discovered so many defects, right, and so many critical bugs also, right? But you can just give some example. So for example, you can say that okay, performance related issues. So for example, there was a major performance bottleneck that I have discovered while doing the volume testing, because when actually we did the testing, the functional testing with the limited set of data, then we did not find all these issues. But when actually we tried to run with the production like load, and we tried to load in the warehouse, that's where actually the job took a lot of time. It was expected to be completed within 1 or 2 hours, but it took very long time, almost 7 to 8 hours. And that's where actually I discovered that the tables which are there, the target tables, they are not having the indexing, right? They do not have the indexes. They are having indexes, but while loading, the index are not getting dropped and then recreated. All those kind of things were there, right? And some of the while running some of the reports with the huge volume, we were not able to get the data. I mean, generate the data. I think we were actually expecting the data to be, the reports to be generated in much faster manner, but it took long and long time. And then we discovered that the underlying tables do not have proper indexes basically, right? So that's where actually querying was taking a lot of time. Now also you can say that the data was not, the partitioning was not properly defined, because the data we are actually having lot of because warehouse by nature it is supposed to hold all the historical data, right? And if you do not have defined the partitioning, based on month or based on year or whatever, then there will be problem, right? Partitioning will ensure that you are actually when you actually perform the select statement, it will make sure that it's basically consider that particular partition and get the value, right? So partitioning is also not defined. So that this kind of things you can say, guys, okay, because you did not find all these things during your functional testing, but when actually you were doing some volume related testing, just to ensure that how the data is getting generated, because the whole intention of the data warehouse is to extract, I mean generate the report, right? If you are not able to generate the report on time, and there is a performance issue, your data warehouse is a problem, right? Because that's the whole thing. And why the reports are not getting generated faster? Because it is having huge data, right? And then we need really better performance so that we can get the report on time, right? Now second issue that I discovered is something related to data truncation issue. Okay, so what is happening is there was a source, and from source there was a field that was coming in, and it was having like 10 digit. And in target, when the target table was defined by DBA, and then it was defined as a number 5, right? What has happened is most of the time we were actually not getting what we were not getting more than 2 or 3 digit basically from the source, but it was defined as a 10, right? So what used to happen, let's say I am getting only 3 characters, and then it was actually fitting in the 5 character very well, right? So when I was doing with the limited set of data, then there was no issue. I was not able to find the data truncation issue. But what has happened is when I actually did some sort of static testing, verifying the document and also verifying the mapping, etc. Then I discovered that there is a issue with this size of this, because in the data testing I could not find, even minus query was not giving, because in source I was getting only 4 digit only, right? And that was actually fitting well here. There was no truncation. But in fact, in future, if there is a more than 5 digit number that is coming from the source, that will get truncated, guys, right? So this is something, this data truncation issues I found a lot, and this is really critical one. And the third one that I found is there was a issue with the lookup field conversion, right? Conversion was happening. What is happening is basically, so for example, I'm giving you this example, something like this. I had a bug. I don't remember it, but this is something like this, right? So there was a sales amount that I had to actually calculate in my fact table, right? And then I was actually getting quantity from the source, and per unit price I was getting from the lookup table. Okay, so lookup was a separate table from where I was getting this, right? So when I perform the lookup on this particular value, what has happened is I got the float value from the lookup table. Actually per unit price value was float, but when actually I traversed into the pipeline after lookup in the next transformation, what has happened is the data type of this particular unit price was by mistake, right? It was converted to integer. Then you remember, you know what is happening here now? What is happening is basically when you are getting float from the lookup and it got converted into integer, there is a certain data loss that has happened, right? The floating point, decimal points got lost, right? But you will not come to know, because what is happening is here, this is not something you can catch in the minus query also. This is something that the derivation, right? And this is something the business rule that you have to verify. So when actually I was verifying the static testing, doing the static testing, when I was verifying the mapping, each and every port from origin, source to target, and each and every flow, then I discovered that this is the problem, right? So this kind of things actually, guys, you cannot find in data testing, and this kind of things that you can only find when you perform static testing, or when you actually have this review of the mapping, etc., right? So these are some of the critical bugs. And this, you imagine that the sales value itself is getting wrong, guys, right? So this is such a critical field, sales value, and this is the base of whole your analysis or whole what you say strategic decision that the management would like to take, right? So this is a very very high impacting bug, and this is something that we have discovered, right? So here the data testing alone will not help. So here that is the reason I used to keep telling you that you have to actually go and validate each and every mapping data size, and also you have to make sure that each and every corresponding columns are actually from source to target. There is no data truncation, there is no data type change actually, right? If it is, then it should be higher only, it should not be lower data type, right? So for example, if it might be integer and later I say float, then it might not be a problem because it is still the same value, right? But if something actually the subsequent flow is in the flow in the pipeline of the mapping, if the mm, mm, what do you say, if the data type is lesser, then there will be data loss, right? So this kind of things actually. Now guys, let's move to the last question, that is tell me about CI/CD pipeline. All right guys, so as I said, this is something related to automation, right? So or I would say DevOps, right guys? So now let me do one thing. So CI/CD is basically what is, this is the new way of I think development methodology, right? Before that actually it's kind of entire build process, how the development happens, and then how the build happens, deployment happens, and it gets promoted to deployment to the higher environment, etc. Right? So this is the DevOps process, CI/CD. And CI/CD is basically stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment. So this CD means CD will come two times basically. Okay. So I don't want to go much in much detail here because I just want to cover on to the point, guys. Okay. So what I will do is I will try to create. So the CI/CD, when I say it's a pipeline basically, that is so one of the tool in CI/CD is called Jenkins, and which is very popular. It is a open source tool, and we need to one second, guys. And the Jenkins tool is the one which is very popular. There are other tools also in the market which are paid, like Bamboo and I think Travis or something. There are some other tools also in the market, guys, but the Jenkins has got a lot of popularity, and that is why when people say CI/CD, by default people will say it's Jenkins, right? And Jenkins is something that is kind of an integration tool, and CI/CD is nothing but it's an integration tool with each and every component within the software development life cycle, right? So let me let me go to CI/CD. So guys, I have installed the Jenkins to show this demo. All right. So now guys, what will happen is, let me try to uh, create some Jenkins jobs, guys. Then I will show you what is CI/CD. Okay. Okay, I'll create one. Maybe I will create build job. Okay, this is the job, build job. I'll say free. Okay, free project. All right, I'll say build job. And then is there anything else that I need to do? I think I don't want to do it. Just to show you. Okay, and post action. Do want to do something? Maybe leave it. I don't want to do anything. Now this is done. All right. Now I'll go back. I'll create another job, build, and test job. Okay, this is test job. This again I will say. All right, guys, and I'll save it. And then I will create one more, something called deploy job. Don't worry, guys, about all this. These are the CI/CD related terminology, build, test, deploy, etc. Don't worry about it. I'm simply creating, for now, I'm simply creating the job right now so that I can show you what is continuous integration and continuous deployment, right? All right, guys. Now you see I have created one, two, three jobs, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to uh, I want to do something. I want to make sure that, let's say, if my build job is success, then only my test job should start, and my test job, once my test job is completed, then only my deploy job should start. Okay, something like this. I want to make a dependency in the Jenkins jobs, right? So let's say the test should only begin. So I went to test job. Now I will go to configure so that I can edit the configuration, guys. Okay, so I will say that, okay, one second. So one second, trigger. Okay, build after other projects are built. Okay, I will say here, one second. Okay, I will say build, right? So it says that this particular job should only trigger, okay, when my build job is successful. Okay, now I have deploy job. Deploy job should only trigger when my test job is completed, right? Okay, I will just go there and I will just go here and I'll say, okay, build trigger when it should trigger, right? That is what it is telling, right? Now I'll say test. When my test job is done, then only my deploy job should start. Now, guys, if let me try to start it, okay? So let's say I'm coming here, okay? Now let's say if I say build, all right. Now see this has already completed. Now it should actually complete this test job, right? Now after this, see it is completed. Now the last one they should complete actually. See, all these three jobs are completed one by one, right? Now what I can do is I can so this is something that you can put the dependency, right? Upstream and downstream. Let's say if I want to go to test job, here I'll see, guys, right? Here upstream is what? It's a build job. That's where it is dependent on. And what is the downstream for this? It's basically deploy job, right? Because deploy job will only start when this particular test job is completed. That's why the deploy job is a downstream for this. Okay. All right. Now I would talk about something about CICD. So this is the normal way of creating a job. I think you have so many other options, guys. You can do it, but the idea here is to tell you what is CI and CD, right? So now if I click here, I get something build pipeline, right? So CI and CD, CI/CD pipeline I'm going to create now. I want to say build pipeline view, and I will say here, okay, build pipeline. Can I say? Okay, build pipeline, guys. Okay, now let's go there and create it. This is what I created, build pipeline. Okay, within this I just want to okay, so here it says that select initial job. So this is right only because this is the first job that I want to select it, right? So build job. Once build job is initial job is done, then rest of the jobs are already linked to that, right? Now one more thing I want to select here. I want to select, okay, number of build display. How many? Let's say 5, because then I can see all the 5 executions, latest 5 executions I can see. Okay, now I just want to say apply and okay. Alright, guys, this is the pipeline one that we have executed just now, right? Sometime before. be executed, right? So this is the one. That's why it is saying all this one. If I want to trigger a new pipeline, I'll say here, and it will come just down here, right? All right, guys. Let's see how it comes. Now you see, number two. This is green. It is completed. This is actually running, right? It's triggered basically. And now if I if I can just let me refresh it. Okay, this is also completed. Now this will also get completed. Yes, this is also completed, right? And you can also rerun if you want actually here, right? And you can see what is the console, what has happened, and whether it is completed. It says the Phoenix success and all those things. So these are some of the Jenkins jobs, guys. And in automation, normally we use in when we are actually doing the Selenium automation and all. That's where we are actually using. You can also use this Jenkins for your ETL scripting, etc. Okay, but yes. So for example, guys, I'll show you one thing. Okay, so let's say if I want to go here, I do not have anything here, right? Here, if I want to run some script as part of this build job, let's say, right? Because these are just in these jobs do not have anything now, right now, correct? These are just simply they are running, right? Nothing we are executing. There are a lot of options, right? Build, trigger, etc. And then guys, here I want to do one thing. Let's say after post, right? Post build. If I want to, one second. Okay, okay. No, okay, not here. Okay, let's see here. Build step, not here as well. One second. Post step, git publisher, record. There are a lot of other options, guys. Post condition that you can do actually here, right? So that we can see later. But the idea was to show you that how the one second how the Jenkins pipeline works, right? Or CI/CD. CI/CD is nothing but a Jenkins only. The tool CI/CD tool is Jenkins, and then the pipeline is this only, guys, right? As I showed you. One second. Is a pipeline, right? You can see. So here I have taken only three, right? You can actually take when this is the part of DevOps team, and DevOps team normally will be creating all this fully automated system. So what is happening now? You are seeing. Let's say in this case, what is happening? Let's say just assume that okay, this build job is let's say something related to development team unit testing job, okay, and they have actually scheduled it through Jenkins, and that particular job, success of that unit testing job will automatically trigger my test suite. So let's say this is my regression test suite in my SIT or system integration testing, right? And then I have actually made sure that my this job, which is regression testing job, will actually run on the latest build when this particular unit test is completed. So unit test is completed, my job will actually immediately kick off here automatically, and then once my job is completed, I can also do one thing. I can also deploy it, right? So the next job could be that the code can be actually deployed from the so let's say you are actually doing this on the QA environment, and the code can be deployed from QA to EUT environment if everything is fine, right? Something like that. The deployment can happen to the higher environment, right? And then it's not only three jobs that you can do. You can actually do so means as many as you want in the pipeline. That is where the whole DevOps comes into picture, right? So DevOps team does all this automation, but from the QA side, we normally do schedule our jobs through Jenkins for the automated, run, etc. Because we really don't know when the developers are actually pushing the code and all. So we just want to make sure that when developer is pushing the code base into the GitHub, and then their unit test is completed, and unit test is basically scheduled through Jenkins from their side, and actually we take that job as an initial job for us, and then once the job is completed, everything will be completed here, right? So this is what actually I wanted to cover, guys. So build pipeline are the Jenkins pipeline or CICD pipeline, all of them are same thing only. It's basically the sequence of job which are actually dependent on upstream job basically, right? Completion of one job is dependent on starting means a start of one job is depend on the upstream of the job, right? And if there is any failure, that will be reported back immediately. So this is how, so this is the normal practice of the DevOps, right? All right, guys, so this is what I wanted to cover. This video is very lengthy, guys, but I hope that you got some idea, okay? And that's what for this video. And I really want to cover the Python video, as I said, guys, right? So let's start from the next session. Until then, happy learning, guys. God bless you. Bye.